Okay, it's Mark, and it's time to start our live show tonight. And so tonight we're going to work on bad apples in a little bit, but first we're going to look at some of our stuff on our webpage. Let me get rid of the image here. So this week I did, or actually late last week, I updated our website. And if you recall, we had this photo issue here where we try to upload photos, and there's an undefined error message. And so I kind of freaked out about this, and paid a bunch of money to upgrade the site, and still had the problem. And it turns out that because I'm using Firefox with a bunch of add-ons, the add-ons are actually stopping me from being able to upload pictures to the site. And but Lucas helped out, and I asked if anybody else had any problems with uploading photos, and nobody has. So it's just me. But either way, the site has been updated. So I'm sure there might be some bug fixes within the social network aspect of the page. It's called Jom Social, and so that's a good thing. So even though I paid some money and it didn't fix my particular problem, I actually do know how to fix it by disabling a bunch of my add-ons. So anyway, the site's been updated, and also so today would actually be feedback week. And so let me see, today is the 19th. So I set it back to July 3rd. Nobody did post anything actually in the forums. However, when I was reading through our front page, so Melhora Productions posted this video and said, little stop motion I made with Legos. I would love to see your feedback. And so we're gonna watch that, and we're gonna check it out now, and we'll talk about it. So let's see here. This.
All right, I'll give it a try.
No. Try not. Do. Or do not. There is no try. Always with you what cannot be done. Flame.
Okay, so that is from Melhorar Productions, which is Melhorar Productions. That's the name of the channel, and I will give it a like, and I suppose I'll subscribe as well. Um, so yeah, what do you guys think? So Mario's asking which Firefox add-ons. I've got quite a bunch. I've got uBlock Origin. I have Ghostery, Simple YouTube Converter, and a few others, which I think I've disabled. But those are the major ones anyway that are listed up top. So if you have any of those, that might cause a problem for you, unfortunately. So let me see here. So in terms of this film, the first thing I noticed, I'm actually going to disable this here, which is Flux, because it changes the colors on my screen. Probably changes it for you as well. But the first thing I noticed is that there's a lot of, I think there's some sort of photo filter here, where we've got some lens flare in spots. It has a certain style to the way it looks. But visually it looks very nice. I think the lighting is good as well. So we've got, for example, we've got a rim light here. Let me go back. So I think there's probably a key light off to the left, maybe a rim light to the right, which is very good. We've also got some Some small camera moves going on as well, probably done in editing. So Yoda's mouth is kind of, the way it moves is kind of just to what is the word? It's like deformed in a way in order to be animated. And then with Luke, you can see, I think the way it was done is that it was, I was going to say it could be stickers, but it's probably digitally done. The thing is I can't tell, which is really good. Like, if you can't tell, that means that the animator has usually done their job, And the lightsaber effect is really great as well. Again, there's sort of like this lens flare thing, which sort of, all the light kind of is exaggerated a bit. But you can see sort of where Yoda was cut out in order to have the lightsaber behind him. Which, unless I pause it on that frame, you can't really tell. But let's go frame by frame here. So the lightsaber turns on. He's turning. And poor Yoda gets cut in half. As you can see here at freeze framing this particular frame, that Yoda has a kind of pattern like where he's been cut that was added. So it's so fast you can't really see it, but having those details is really nice, So Weeby says, I work as a web content manager, and my advice is to keep the add-ons to a minimum. You have to ask yourself, do you really need it? If your answer is not a hard yes, get rid of it. Yeah, that's good advice, as I've learned the hard way. And Ron says, my first stop motions in high school back in the 1980s were just the same as this. Death and destruction in the Star Wars universe. Only back then I was shooting in Super 8. Yep, that's the way I think for every at least every male stop motion animator. Yeah, we all tend to go towards the violence, it's kind of a given. But I think it's great, and the animation is pretty good as well. Like if you look at Yoda moving his head here, there's a little bit of easing in and easing out there. So some good principles, like there's not a lot of pops to the animation. It's smooth. So yeah, I say it's great. Personally, I think it's great. A short little film that is very polished. Even though it's short, even though it's there's not a whole lot to the premise. It's very simple, but it's very polished, and I like it. So don't piss off Luke Skywalker. Alright, so anyway, now, if you guys want to check out more of Mel Horror's Productions films, I'm going to click on his channel. So you can see here that he's got quite a number of films. Looks like we got about 6 in total. Or these are speed builds. Okay, so these aren't actually films, perhaps. And he's also got a section for his old work. So all in all, I guess he's probably got 2 channels. The old works is here. I don't know. Alright, when I clicked on videos though, it didn't show all those, did it? That's strange. I don't really understand. I think YouTube's broken. But anyways, he's got Careful What You Wish For, Lego Marvel Superheroes, Spider Trike, and that's a speed build. Yoda's Hut, which is 15 seconds long. Okay, check that out. Oh, okay, so it looks like he's done some tests here. Probably trying to figure out his camera and whatnot. I think one of the things I can tell right off the bat is the autofocus was probably still turned on here. So I can see a lot of shifts in the focus. If I probably go through frame by frame, you'll... Or not. Seems like he moved it during the shutter as it was opened. Because the background is the background blurry? Kind of hard to tell here. This is definitely some strange stuff. Yeah, so we got some auto exposure things going on. So I think he was just trying to rough out, you know, figure out how all this stuff was going to work before he shot the final piece. And it is a silent film here, so it's pretty interesting though. Or maybe he's trying to figure out how to add motion blur. Maybe what he did is he put that on a some sort of a rod underneath and then was spinning it as the frame was being taken in order to give Yoda this motion blur. That would be really a smart idea, actually, if that was the intention. And of course, there's always the chance that he used real smart motion blur. He didn't say though. I'd love to know. And Ron says that's motion blur added. Yeah, it could very well be. Yep. Well, I don't know too many females that make lots of violent films. Only a few, but now Anamitas says my first stop motion was violent a little bit, just a push, but it could be the primitive ancestors of today's animation. It's just the easy go-to thing. Like if you ever watch Robot Chicken or Celebrity Deathmatch, MTV Celebrity Deathmatch, I mean, it's just really popular to have violence when you're younger, to watch violent films and stuff. So Ron thinks this is real smart motion blur. Yeah, I think it could be. The only other thing I could think is that... Let me go back here. So he's got it on sort of a clear peg. That's pretty smart. I guess Lego has a lot of things I didn't know about, like this. So you can actually raise stuff up. That's really neat. So anyways, so this is Mel Horror Productions. And yeah, you know, if you guys are out there and interested in these kind of brick films, perhaps subscribe and like his films, help him out. The first stop motions made by most boys involve decapitations and vomiting. Yep, that's my first film, was to decapitate a teddy bear. Yep. That is right. So anyways, as I think I mentioned, so our feedback week will be, the next one will be on July 3rd. So I moved that date back because nobody did post anything for review for this week. I think our site's acting a bit slow. Alright. Oh, there it goes. Alright, so there it is. So if you guys want to post anything for future review on our live show on the 3rd, just feel free to reply to this this topic, and that's what we're going to do. Okay, so now, you guys know that I like visualization programs, and so this time I found a program that I thought you guys might be interested in, and this would be something that, like, if you were a producer or a director on Missing Link, for example, that Like created, this is a kind of program that you might be interested in, something where there's a lot of outdoorsy kind of scenes, forests and or islands, or you know, jungles, that sort of a thing. So this is called Flowscape, and it is actually created by a visual effects artist, and they, I believe, worked in the video game industry, and there's some programs out there such as Unreal Engine and what's the other one? Unity, I think it's called Unity. And so most people would, build video games, and you got to place trees and rocks and things like that in your scene, and it takes a long time. And so what this person did is they created something for just to create visuals. There's no video game aspect to this or anything like that. But what's great about it is if you are into stop motion and you do want to create a scene, as you can see here, you can lay stuff out and experiment and try different camera angles and see what you like before perhaps turning it into an actual physical set. So if you guys have ever watched a lot of behind the scenes, for example, Nightmare Before Christmas or James and the Giant Peach or Monkey Bone or anything like that. But I think if you guys have the Nightmare Before Christmas DVD set, you'll see that Henry Selick had everybody create sets that were miniature representations of the full sets. And what they would do is they would use a piece of poster board, and they would draw out like an outline of a small building, or perhaps a hill, or some sort of a prop or anything like that. They would make everything sort of small, and then stick their camera in there, and see how much of the full size set do we have to build. Should we move things around, that kind of a thing. And just trying to set things up to see, what would we like to do. And so here's a shot of what this program does. And you can see we have like a lake, we have some wolves in the background, we have some rocks, we have trees, and we have a sky. Now, trying to visualize something like this, normally what you would do is you would go into Photoshop or a paint program and just paint it, and then you would see, how does this look? Which is a great idea. It's one of the things that most places do. But the cool part about this is you can create this, but you can also move your camera around inside of it at the same time, because it's a full 3D environment. And so if you have, for example, a pan or a tilt or a tracking shot or a dolly shot or something like that, you can sort of work that out in here and see if you like it, before you actually build something. So here we have a rocky sort of jungle something or other. It's not very realistic, but here we have some flowers and some bushes and a rock. Something like this would be great if you're doing some sort of a mythical kind of a film, maybe with fairies or little trolls or something. You want to know how would this look? And the cool part about it is, let's see if there's a video we could watch. I did watch one video on here that showed this might be the one. Let's open it up in YouTube and let's watch it. Alright, so pretty awesome little thing that they put together, and this is only $10, so that's the other really amazing thing, is it's so cheap. that, you know, I just thought it was a great little thing that, you know, might be good to have in your tool chest for outdoor scenes. And you can change your intensity of the sun, fog, white balance, saturation, pretty much anything, which is really nice. Okay, so anyways, let's move forward now. And so now, if you guys recall, we've been working on Bad Apples, which is, you know, I've been working on this for probably, I don't know, over a year now. And so it's really difficult to get through it because I keep running into problems. For example, the version of Moho that I have is not really very good. It's limited, and I thought that it was not going to be when I bought it, so that was kind of a surprise. And I decided that I would like to buy the full version, and that will actually save us a lot of time in completing the project, as opposed to trying to convert everything into PNG files. If you guys can remember, that's what we had to do in order to get around the limitations. And there were all these little things we had to do, like switch layers, I think they're called. So we had to have switch layers and convert things to PNG files, and so I don't want to really get too complicated with it and, you know, extend the project out too far. And I noticed that on their page they have this thing which is really nice, which is if you have Moho Debut 12, which is what I have, they give you a discount for the full version. So I'm probably going to end up buying this, which means that we are going to have to switch gears. And instead of trying to convert everything into PNG files, we're going to instead go with just PSD files and make the characters within Photoshop so that we can import them directly into Moho and just, you know, literally just about start animating from there after some setup. So it's going to cost me some money, and but I do want to buy that, and that will, you know, free me up and make things go a lot more smoothly. And for tonight, though, what I want to do is I want to start organizing some of my files, because a lot of this stuff is just, it's a mess. I've got, let's see here. So these were files that I just made to share with people, and so I don't really need that, so I'm going to delete that whole entire folder. That was for, you know, Instagram or Facebook or whatever, so that's gone. And so we have a bunch of other folders. And what I want to do is I created this new folder called Film Ready Files. And this has backgrounds, characters, and props. And so I know I've got at least 2 backgrounds that are done somewhere within these folders. And I want to start moving them around and organizing them into their proper places. So the raw photos, now this folder here that I made has all of the initial files for pretty much everything. So here's one particular file. So this is the part of the set, and we've got the mother's house and the tree and some clouds. And of course we converted all that into, I'll show you in my Film Ready files here, outside shot with sky. Hopefully this will load up nicely. Might be a little bit slow. You can see the finished file here, which has all of the different photos compiled into one. So we have our little stream, we have the trees, we have the house, we have the castle. We added the clouds in there too as well. And these are all, this is a PSD file. We've got, you know, we can turn off the clouds if we wanted to. We could, in Moho, we could animate those so that they're sort of moving across. We have, you know, the entire background stitched together, and you can see when we take that off, we have our little creek, and we have the. I'm trying to think if we have. Yes, we have this water, and we have foam. Now I do have a series of like splashes and foam and things like that as a separate file. So that's something that I think we'll probably turn these off here and then insert that into Moho later. So we're going to have to think about what to do with that. I'm not really sure. But we don't have anything in the characters here. We don't have anything in the props. And so I'm going to start going into the PSD files. And so we have our clouds. Let's see now. Where is Okay, so I need to figure out if these are PSDs or PNG files. And I'm pretty sure that this is a PSD. Okay, so this one is done. The king is already completed. The mother, also a PSD. And the kid, PSD. I want to open this one just to check him out first. Alright, so yeah, he's done. He's already completed. So I'm going to put them in our finished characters folder. So what are you saying now, Juan? So you're saying, then I made the tree that could fly, but I started on GIF. Hey, Whiskey. So, Whiskey, I was saying before, if you just joined, I'm probably going to end up buying the new version of Moho just in order to speed up the process of working on our film. So welcome back. And right now I'm just sort of, I'm going to start organizing what I have here. And we're not going to need those PNG files anymore. We're going to go with the PSDs and update Moho. So we're going to go back to the characters, paste Grumble on there. Okay, now I think this castle. So yeah, this is going to be for the close-up of when we see the king and whatnot. So we've got our got all our files here, which are all aligned for animation purposes. So Moho is a program which you can animate. It's mostly used by 2D animators. Actually, it's usually not used for stop motion purposes like we're using it for. But you can use it for stop motion, but only in a certain limited way. So the clay on glass style is, lends itself to this particular program because you can film everything and cut it out like what we've done here. So you can see we've got this little kid, and we need to convert this into a PSD file which is layered, where all the heads are aligned, and it's essentially taking 3D stuff and turning it into 2D. And from there, what you can do is you can slide it around, all the parts around, sort of like, what is that show called again? Oh man, what was the first cartoon to use that technique on a mass scale? Oh no, they killed Kenny. What is the name of the show? Or cartoon? I can't remember. But basically, what we're going to do is, with these layers in Photoshop, as you can see here, I'm sort of turning on and off layers, and they're all 2D. And so, like this one here, I would have the doors opening, for example, on this castle. There's almost like shutters covering the door, and I will go in Moho and I will turn some on and turn some off, and then so those things will open and close. And then the character, let me close this. So the character that comes out of there will be the king. And here's the king. So where's his head at? So in Moho, what you can do is do this. You can sort of slide stuff around and use keyframes. And so the king, I can have talk. I can have him move his head up and down and his crown and all these other parts. And from there, because Moho uses keyframes, it will record wherever I move any of these layers. So that's basically it in a nutshell. South Park, yes, that's the one. Yeah, South Park used to use cutouts on glass. So very similar to clay on glass, where everything is flat. Hey, Hoser Lou. Alright, so let me see here. So I'm going to open up this file. I'm going to work on this a little bit. So I think for now, I am going to align all of these heads properly onto the body so that we can animate this character within Moho. So with Moho, what you do is it allows you to just import the entire PSD file, which is already aligned properly. So we've got, for example, we have our body. So I'm gonna move up. Also gonna move his arms up. Like that. See, where's his other arm at? I think it's probably at the top of my... Where did it go? There it is. Okay. Move his arms up. Maybe twist it around a little bit. Make it look nice. Okay. Very good. So hopefully you guys are having a good week. I do notice one little error here on my on this character's face. And that is that there's something under his eyeball. So I'm gonna try to attempt to fix that a little bit. Now I sculpted this character really small. Almost too small. So, maybe I should use the smudge. Oops. I'm so used to using ZBrush shortcut keys that I just automatically start clicking my keyboard. Oh. Oh, did I click on the smudge tool there? Oh, because I clicked the shortcut key. Alright. Never mind. So let me try to fix this a little bit. Get his eye looking normal. There we go. That looks better. Yes, and Juan, you can move each layer around however you like. That's the great part about it. And Whiskey says PDF files will work good. Just too bad you needed the update to use them. Yeah, it's unfortunate, but you know, you get what you pay for, I guess. I don't know. That's what everybody always tells me. Right, so this eyeball here is also a little bit smudged. I wonder what happened here. I must have. I think it's just because they're so small, I didn't even notice till I photographed it and made it so big. Gonna round those eyes just a little bit. So we got our little squash here. And maybe this is one of the crying animations. And you know what's really neat about Moho as well is that I can add, for example, I was thinking for this particular shot where I'm having the kids cry, and they're going to cycle between these two different faces. So it looks like they're really crying up in it. So I'm thinking I could probably add like little tears that shoot out within Moho, because you can draw stuff in there by hand. This would be the third one. Move this into place. Hopefully this won't be too extreme. Although I don't think it will be, but sometimes it's good to be extreme. So I wonder if I should clean this mouth up here. Or just leave it. Nah, I'm gonna leave it. So this here would also be a stretched out head. So we got our, I should probably move this one. Where was the squash? There was one more up. So we'd have the squash, stretch. I think this is just one of the neutral heads. So I should probably move that to the very top. That would be sort of the base head. Which head is this one? Oh, okay. This one is just an extra. There's not even any eyebrows on him, so I am going to... Should I delete that one? That brings something to mind. Yeah, okay, so I did add eyebrows to every single one of these. I was afraid that I didn't do that. So Whiskey says Moho will let you resize and fit the layers, move them in 3D space like if they were on glass and so on. Yep. It's actually a great program. Alright. So this one I'm going to save. And this is going to be pretty much ready for Moho. Although, I'm not really sure if the size of this is good to have. So large. So that's something I was really concerned about before, but now, thinking about it, that might not be good. But I'm just going to save it and save it again here. And I'm going to take this one and put it into our finished characters. And I'm going to turn off the background. Not really sure if I need to do this or not, but since these do have backgrounds which won't be needed for Moho, I'm going to turn these off. Yeah, this one's going to be pretty neat to animate, I guess. I mean, I think he turned out pretty good. The only problem I have with these little kids that I did, though, is that there is some green spill around their arms and everything. I don't know why it seems so much more apparent now than the last time I worked on them. What I think I'm going to do is probably erase some of that. Let's see if I can do it in a nice way here. In fact, let's do this. Turn that background back on just so I can see better. Kind of soften up that green edge right there a little bit. I don't know if it's just me, but it does seem like that's more apparent this time. What about the other arm? Yeah. Even the other arm kind of has it as well. Let's kind of go in here and... There we are. I think that definitely helps. I don't want to make it too soft, but I also don't want that green there. Okay. As for the body, I think that I could probably clean that up as well. This wouldn't normally be a problem, so if I would have done this on my clay and glass rig, it would be much easier because the background would be the actual background. wouldn't have to worry about this, but I did shoot it with green behind it. The next time that I do this, I'm probably going to shoot it with a gray card as a background. So if you guys are trying to reproduce what I've done, you probably want to use like a gray or a neutral color background that doesn't have a vivid sort of like if you get poster board that's pink, like bright neon pink or anything like that, it will just mess you up. Everything will reflect on your edges, and you gotta clean everything just like this. But live and learn. You know, I learned my lesson. That's okay. Alright. Go to the background. Alright, so we're going to call him done. Yeah, it's all a learning process. I mean, there's no rule book for a lot of this kind of thing. Like, there's no tutorials on doing stop motion for Moho or Clown Glass, so... Yep. I learned my lesson. Now we have rocks. So I'm thinking what I could do with this is, let me see here. Let me see. Let me see. King Grumble, another one. Let's see, like, not needed. Not needed, so I don't need to go back into that. Ah, okay, so this here is going to be really important. So the crazy part about this is like we're not going to see almost any of this. It's going to just be the replacements, 2D replacements of these water splashes and ripples and things. But I think that is done. If I recall, I don't need to do anything with that. So we can put that into our finished backgrounds. Now, Whiskey says if you can set the green cloth screen back 4 to 8 inches from your clay models, it will not reflect as much. Yep, it probably helps a lot, but unfortunately, I think the problem for me was not so much because I did have the distance between the models and the green. I think it was probably about 1.5 feet or 2 feet, but I had so much light on that green to try and easily remove the background with the magic wand in Photoshop. So that was my thinking, like if I make the background nice and bright, it'll just remove simply and won't require a lot of cleanup. But it also depends on how bright that is, as I've learned. So I made it too bright, and that's how it reflected up onto the bottom. So we have clouds here now. So what is this one here? Okay, so this outside shot I don't really need. I can delete this. But just in case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that in my raw photos. So I don't want to really delete that. And so Grumble, I believe, is done. So we have Grumble, he's done. So what should I do with this? Well, I won't need it. Kid 2 is done. Mother 1 is done. So I put that in raw photos. Maybe what I should do is make another folder here. Be like, let's see here. Outside shot there was just didn't have it. Yeah, the green wasn't removed. Yeah, I'll just move it in here anyway. I think that'll be okay. Top Smokey. So Smokey would be another character we could put together. He might be the next character that we do. Don't have enough time for that. About the castle. So this would also be another finished scene. So let's do this. Let's put that into our backgrounds. So we have the castle, we have the whole entire outside. Could have sworn I had some props that I had completed. I guess what I just did was remove the green from them. So we could quickly take all of these, load them up. We can turn this into one file, simply, just by layering them. Now you'll notice there is a lot of green spill on these as well. Let's kind of put these in the middle. That's going to be okay. I'll take my eraser tool and I'm going to clean these up just a bit as well. Start with this one. So the rocks here, I believe the reason why I made this rock was it will be used to kill one of the characters, if I recall. I gotta check my storyboards, but needed to have a rock. We have different garden utensils and tools as well. And we're going to sort of kind of create the same thing like in Frankenstein, the movie Frankenstein, where the villagers get really angry and they get their pitchforks and stuff and try to attack the monster. So that's kind of the idea behind some of these things. Because one of the characters will be trying to feed her family and get some apples, and the villagers don't like that. So there actually is some violence in this film, by the way. Since we were talking about violence in stop motion, but it is used to tell a story. It does have a reason. So Funk Dog is asking, have you ever made a stop motion puppet with fur? I have not, and I have avoided that because that's something that, you know, that is a big problem. Fur and puppets don't really mix too well. So if I were to elaborate on what I mean by that, you know, it's not a bad thing. You know, there's nothing really wrong with it. The only issue is that you get a lot of this sort of static, like a TV static kind of effect from that. And, you know, a lot of people don't like that. So if you watch, for example, the 1932 King Kong film, stop motion, you would see that, you know, King Kong's fur kind of always moves constantly, like he's being blown on by either the wind or, you know, something is crawling on under his skin and making his fur move. And sometimes they call it boiling. So that's something that, you know, is hard to avoid, and that's one of the reasons why a lot of people try not to go with fur. But not all of them. Like if you watched a lot of the, some feature films have a lot of animals and dogs and things. Like Fantastic Mr. Fox is like one example. So, a lot of that, a lot of people think that's kind of charming, so they just keep it that way. So it depends on your taste. Personally, I'm 50-50 on it. I don't really mind it too bad, honestly. But I have not tried to use it in my films. Yeah, you can try hairspray. So there are ways around it. So clay animation has the same problems. So, for example, if you move a clay puppet and their arms are made of clay and their whole body's made of clay, let's say their arms, their legs, that kind of thing, and you grab the character, a lot of times you will squash the exterior and it will show up in a similar manner, and then like you'll notice it during animation, and you'll try to like clean it up as you go, and when you clean it up, you sort of you have like a squash and then a smudging effect over the surface. So one of the ways that people get around that, and you can do this as well, like if you're trying to make a puppet like a dog or a wolf or something like that with a lot of fur, is to use brass tubing inside your puppet. And so in the back part of your puppet's head, you would have a tube that you can access, and you would not have it within camera view. So you'd want to have fur covering it, or some kind of cloth, or a tunic, or that sort of thing, right? So you cover it up, but you have it where it's accessible, and you stick a tool inside there, and since that tube goes into your puppet's head, you can animate the head by sticking the tool into the head and turning it, as opposed to grabbing it with your hands. And that will mean that just the tool touching the back of the head in that hole would be the only point of contact, and then you can turn that head in any direction, and the hair will not boil and move around like static. So the same is true for clay, or any kind of puppet that is fragile. Like if you were to, let's say, make a puppet with some sort of sparkles, like let's say you're making like an ice cream character, and there's all sorts of little like a snow cone or something with sprinkles on there, right? So if you touch it, all the sprinkles would fall off. So you can try to like glue it on there, but if they're fragile, you can use the same technique, and instead of grabbing the whole head to move it, just have something that's a tube of some sort that's connected right straight down into the center of the armature, that can be animated that way. And Animitas is saying, oh hey Randy, saying that you can use latex or rubber. Yeah, I mean, if you wanted to make fur that doesn't move around, and you can sculpt it. That's true. You can sculpt it into whatever shape you want, and cast it in any kind of material that's flexible. Silicone, foam, latex. It really depends. Like if you're into it and you're like, yeah, I like the way that looks, then there's no reason to not just animate it, actual fur, like fake fur or something like that. Nothing wrong with that at all. It's just depends on the artist, I guess. So I have these stray pixels. I don't know if you guys notice, my camera kind of creates problems with stray pixels that I'm just trying to find on these rocks. Make sure there's no weirdness going on. I think that's probably one right there, but I'm going to leave that one. Yeah, it definitely is, actually. I think anybody's going to see it, though. That's going to be probably fine. So this I'm going to save as a... so we get rock. Film ready files. We'll put this in props, and then rock. Alright, that's another file done. And then, so this one, I'm going to put into my raw photos where the green screen was removed. Oh, wait a minute. I think because this is opened in Photoshop, I can't move it. No, I did close it. Not quite sure what happened there. Oops. So I can cut that. Cut. Oh, it's there. Oh no. Okay, wait a minute. Wrong folder mark. Oh, I can't paste it. Alright, well. I don't understand why. I think my computer probably still has it in the memory somewhere, some sort of a glitch. That's okay. Well, anyways, so I guess that probably wraps up our show for tonight. We did get some organizing done. We did get some more some stuff worked out, more characters done, ready to be imported into Moho for animation. And so next week, what are we gonna do next week? What do you guys think? Maybe we could just read some news, or maybe talk about some of your work, some of your projects. And yes, I've used DragonFrame. It's an awesome program. If you can afford it, it's the best stop motion program out of the two, which would be Stop Motion Pro and DragonFrame. Those are like the two premier stop motion programs. Absolutely. So if you can afford it, definitely try to get it. And made it in time for the last 5 minutes. Yeah, Randy. Alright, well anyways, that does conclude our show. I think we're going to just wrap it up, because by the time I get into anything else, there's not much time left. So anyways, I will see you guys all next week, and thanks for stopping by.